before he was the most controversial psychologist of our generation, before the lectures that filled arenas, there was a silence. He grew up in the frozen north of Alberta, a place where the winter darkness lasts for months. As a young man, he didn't start in a university. He worked in oil fields. He drove trucks. He saw the raw, unfiltered reality of the world. But there was a moment, a turning point. He realized that the chaos of the world wasn't outside him, it was within. He spent decades studying the monsters of history, the structure of belief, and the architecture of the human mind. He walked through the fire of public scrutiny, facing threats that would break most men, yet he stood firm. Why? Because he discovered a secret about time, a secret about your potential that most people will never understand until it is too late. He found that the difference between a life of tragedy and a life of meaning is not luck, it is not talent, it is what you do with the next 30 seconds. Jordan Peterson often asks his students a terrifying question. How many hours a day do you waste? The answer is usually the same. 4 hours, maybe 6. Think about that. 4 hours of ineffective studying. 4 hours of scrolling through YouTube videos you don't even care about. 4 hours of digital numbness that leaves you feeling worse than before you started. Let's do the math, because the numbers don't lie. 4 hours a day is 20 hours a week. That is 100 hours a month. In 1 year, you are throwing away 2.5 months of full-time work. Gone. Vanished. If your time is worth just $20 an hour, a radical underestimate for your future potential, you are burning $50,000 a year. But here's the tragedy. When Peterson wastes time, he is an older man. When you waste time, you are burning the most valuable asset you will ever own, your youth. Wasting $50,000 when you are 20 is a catastrophe far greater than wasting it when you are 50. You are trading your future freedom for present comfort. And the cost is not just money, it is efficiency, it is competence. If you stopped this leak today, how much more efficient could you become? 10 times? 20 times? Most people have no idea how powerful they could be because they are too busy drowning in the shallow end of distraction. So, how do you stop the waste? How do you unlock that efficiency? Peterson argues there is one skill that separates the winners from the losers. One skill that universities teach, but rarely explain why. Writing. Most students think they write essays to get grades. That is a lie. You write to learn how to think. There is no difference between writing and thinking. If you cannot write clearly, you cannot think clearly. And if you cannot think clearly, you will lose the battles you face in life. Imagine you are in a negotiation. Imagine you are proposing an idea to a boss or defending a principle to a friend. If your thoughts are disorganized, you will look like a fool. You will be cut to pieces, not out of malice, but because your ideas have no structure. But if you can write, you can formulate coherent arguments. If you can speak, you can present proposals. When you master this, people will offer you money. They will offer you opportunities. They will offer you power. Writing is the ultimate superpower. It is the weapon you carry into the world. Yet no one tells you this. They tell you to memorize facts. But facts without the ability to articulate them are useless. If you can think, speak, and write, nothing can stand in your way. Nothing. Now, I know what you are thinking. This sounds like a prison. I don't want a schedule. That is the first mistake people make. They think discipline is a cage. A schedule is not a prison. A schedule is a map to the day you want to have. The trick is to design a tomorrow that is the best possible version of a day. But you must be practical. You cannot demand perfection from yourself. You are not a machine. Peterson suggests a negotiation. Treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. Imagine you are the boss and you are also the employee. If you were a kind boss, would you whip your employee for 16 hours straight? No. You would burn them out. You negotiate. Okay, I need you to work on this difficult task for 1 hour, but if you do that, you can play video games for 15 minutes. You balance responsibility with reward. Maybe 20% of your day is pure responsibility, maybe more depending on how far behind you are. But you must ensure that at the end of the day, you are not in a worse position than when you woke up. If you wake up and go to sleep and nothing has improved, that is a stupid day. And a series of stupid days digs a hole. And eventually, you light a match and jump in. Don't do that. Aim for 51%. Just be 1% better than yesterday. If you hit 50% of your goals, aim for 51% next week. This is how you create a positive feedback loop. This is how you climb out of the hole. Why does this matter? Why not just be lazy? Some people choose nihilism. They say, nothing matters. I am just dust in the wind. There are 7 billion people. Who am I? This is a dangerous lie. You are not just dust. You are a node in a vast network. You know at least 1,000 people in your lifetime. Each of them knows 1,000 people. You are 1 step away from 1,000,000 people, 2 steps away from 1 billion. When you act, it is like dropping a stone in a pond. The ripples move outward in ways you cannot fully comprehend. Your actions affect your family, your friends, your community. If you choose to make things worse out of resentment, arrogance, or laziness, you contribute to the hell that exists on Earth. But if you stop making things worse, if you take responsibility, you have no idea how much good you can generate. Your fate is not just your own. It is the fate of everyone you touch. The terror of this realization is that it makes your life heavy. But the alternative is a life that is light, meaningless, and full of suffering. Would you rather carry a burden that gives your life meaning? Or would you rather carry nothing and feel the weight of emptiness? Here is the hard truth. You cannot live without a routine. You need to choose a time to wake up, anytime you want, but choose one and stick to it. This regulates your biology. It regulates your mood. But more importantly, you must realize that you are not your own servant. You are a complex being. Sometimes you are a bad employee, and sometimes you are a tyrannical boss. You crack the whip, you procrastinate, you crack the whip again. It is pathetic, it is boring. You need to negotiate with yourself. Ask yourself, what is good for me? Not what you want right now. Not the candy, not the sleep in, not the distraction. What is good for you? Imagine you are taking care of a child that you love deeply. What would you want for them? You would want them to aim high. You would want them to be strong. Do the same for yourself. Set a target. 3 years from now, where should you be? Aim at something good, and then take 10 steps toward it. You might miss. You might have to adjust the target, but you must have a target. Success is a narrow line. You will never stumble upon it by accident. You must aim for it. Sit on your bed today. Ask yourself the dangerous question, what are the stupid things I do regularly that ruin my life? And then stop doing them. You have the capacity for more than you know. Don't let your potential rot in the silence of wasted hours. Pick up the pen. Set the schedule. Take the responsibility. The world is waiting to see what you can do when you finally decide to stop wasting time. If this message resonated with you, if you felt that spark of responsibility, I want you to make a commitment right now. Go to the comments and write, I will not waste my today. Let's hold each other accountable. Subscribe for more deep dives into the psychology of success. Remember, your life is your responsibility. Make it count.